what was the hip hop scene like in terms of Detroit, like the underground scene when you started to really get into it? Because we seen so many like big phenomenal artists come out of Detroit. You had
Mm-hmm.
Slum Village, you had
Mm-hmm.
the D12 movement, you had
Mm-hmm.
and then you was a part of, the JD camp. So what was it
Mm-hmm.
like before everybody bubbled? You know what I'm saying?
Um, it because like I met Dilla in 1986, right? So we were middle
Mhm.
school kids, right? Uh, and hip hop was just kind of getting his legs at that point, right? And then a couple years later is when he met the members of Slum, and we all, kind of became a little unit, right? At that time, um, it wasn't cool, not in Detroit. It wasn't cool to be hip hop, right? Like it wasn't cool to be a music dude and wear the baggy clothes and the break dancing because Detroit is not a city like that. It's more of a grind gangster city than it is a hip hop city, if that makes any sense, right? So it wasn't cool. We was like in high school, they called me Hip Hop Frank. There was 3 Franks in my school. And I was Hip Hop Frank because everybody knew that I DJ'd and danced and I messed with the hip hop. It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Detroit was more of a techno dance house city because we kind of got our hands on that movement as well, right? And as a DJ, I played those records. As a dancer, I danced to those records. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't make that music. That wasn't the music that I was drawn to at that point. It was cool for the parties and dancing and DJing and whatever, but it was the hip hop thing that locked me in, where I was interested in all the facets of it, how the beat was made, how the rhymes was written, all these different things, right? And then fashion and all the things that came with it. So for us, it wasn't cool to be hip hop. It was very limited scene, right? So it was only a couple of clubs. I tell you, this one club we started going to, me, Dank, Dilla. We started going to T3 and the guys when we were like 13 years old, right? 14 years old, high school kids. They had a Sunday for 13 to 18-year olds, right? And you go on Sunday afternoon, and Dilla's parents would take us every week, right? Drop us off, pick us up every week. So we would go here, and just the funny part that when I say 85%, 95% of the night was like techno music. And if it was hip hop, it was like gangster hip hop. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't Tribe Called Quest. It wasn't like the more backpack, they would call it hip hop, right? And that's what we was on. Now we dancing and everything else, and the girls and all that's great. But they would give us like 15 minutes, like a 15-minute set where they would play like that style of hip hop. And our crew and a couple other crews would get on the floor and do every hip hop dance move we could figure out for that 15 minutes, because after it's over, they're cutting it off and they're going back to the dance, techno. What's going to make the girls move? We ain't thinking about you hip hop cats. It's been times with DJ was like, all right, all the hip hop dudes off the floor. We're going back to this. So it wasn't cool like that, right? So we had to fight through that part, but we created scenes and pockets for ourselves. Proof from D12 is a huge part of that, because a lot of people know Proof as the MC, but in this city, he was, and elsewhere, he was like an ambassador. He was able to go everywhere. He could go to the grimiest gangster club and the most backpack spin on your kneecap hip hop club you can find, right? And he not only was an MC, but he did nights. He did open mic nights. He did at the hip hop shop on Saturdays the open mic for MCs to come around. He did the Ebony Showcase, where like it's old footage of Eminem performing at that showcase, right? Crazy enough, Frank and Dank, Eminem, all performed on one night at that place, right? Like before any of us got on, before anybody was like, Proof was ahead of all of us realistically, right? So nah, we created a scene because there wasn't one, because it just wasn't this wasn't the city that was designed to have a scene like that. It was more for the gangsters, players, pimps, and the guys who grinded it out at the jobs. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man. I appreciate you breaking it down. I mean, you painting a vivid picture. Man, big shout out to Proof. Rest in peace.
yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say because I noticed, like I say, it's been a few years, but we used to go back and forth up to Detroit, and I kind of noticed it. But like y'all music, like they kind of play it a little bit faster than normal.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they
Yeah.
like especially in like the strip club scene, and,
Mm-hmm.
and, and even on the radio and in the clubs, like they would take a record that was already 150 BPMs and play it on 45, so that it was super sped up. So no, because we have a dance here called the jit. It's a footwork dance, right? And and that's a dance that's universal. Like the hip hop guys did it, the players did it, the pimps did it, everybody did it, right? And it was based on faster up tempo music, so you can get your footwork going really quickly. So, uh, yeah, no, Detroit. Our post was a little bit. It was up tempo because we come from techno and house, and you know what I'm saying. So dance music. Funny enough, as gangster as this city is, as many guns get pulled out here, dancing was never a problem. We'll shoot you while we dancing. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not in that like that, but like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we come from up tempo, pound you in the head kind of music. So yeah, definitely has a pulse to it.
Right, right. You made it make sense to me because that's what I was saying. Because like you were saying about the techno, like you put the history behind it, but that was something
Mm-hmm.
that I always remembered.